Hey, I'm Dr. John, but you can call me John because my ego is big enough. Have a video request here for a stretch routine, but I'm going to do better than just that because there's no point giving a stretch routine that's kind of one size fits all because everyone's going to need to stretch different things. What do we need to stretch? We need to stretch what's tight. So I'm going to give you tests, there's about 7 or 8 of them, from head to toe, and if you kind of fail the test, it means that muscle is tight and probably you should stretch it. Now, why do we want to stretch a muscle? Is it to prevent injury? No. Studies have been done. Stretching doesn't prevent an injury, pulling a muscle, right? So the military, with all their boot camps and basic training, half the people stretched, half of them didn't. Equal amount of injuries. How do we prevent injury? Proper warming up. That's another video. Does stretching reduce pain after a workout? The delayed onset of muscle soreness, the DOMS. Doesn't do anything for DOMS. Best thing for DOMS is just keep moving. You know, don't get really sore and then sit around like a bump on a log, because that's not going to do anything. You're just going to be sore. You want to rest, you want to eat good, and do light movement when you have DOMS, those sore muscles. So why do we stretch if it doesn't do those things? We want to stretch to improve function, right? So maybe you can't get into a good posture, you can't get your head on your shoulders, over your shoulders because of super tight muscles. Maybe things are out of balance, maybe your shoulders are rounded forward because of a tight pec. So it improves function. Maybe you can't squat deep because your calves are too tight. So it improves function, okay? So we're going to go over these tests now, all right? Head to toe, here we go. That rhymed. And a really important tip, how to stretch. Some people don't know how to do this. We don't want to be bouncing into the stretch. We want to relax. Relax, relax, relax. Into the stretch. 30 seconds, that's a minimum. 45 seconds to a minute, that's how long you need to be stretching to really be kind of making some progress. What we want to do is have the muscle habituate. When you stretch a muscle, it says, I don't want to do that. And so you need to relax so that the muscle says, okay, fine, I'll relax and I'll stretch out. Because the muscle is going to be contracting, saying, no, I do not want to stretch. So you have to keep going, keep going, keep going. Relax into it, breathe. When should you stretch? Anytime's the best time. But stretching at night is probably the best time. It's going to get you more relaxed, ready for bed. Very good bedtime routine. And 2, when you sleep, that's when the body's repairing everything. And so if you stretch, then you go to sleep, and then the body's going to repair those muscles you stretch. You've stretched them out, and then the body repairs them into those elongated lengths. It should hopefully repair them in a stretched out length so the body remembers to stretch out, right? Make sense? All right. All right, first is our neck. A lot of people have really tight neck/shoulder muscles in here, your upper traps. It's a really simple test. All we're going to do is go this way and that way. You should be able to get within about 2 inches from ear to shoulder. If you feel like that's all you got, and when you go this way, then this shoulder is rising with it, it's pulling it along, too tight. What do you got to do? You got to stretch that. How do we stretch it? Well, we can just do something as simple as that. Maybe you want a little bit of overpressure. You gently relax into that. All right, moving on. All right, the next muscle is shoulder girdle. A lot of stuff going on here, a lot of muscles, so there's a lot of stretches. The test called Apley's. One hand up, one hand behind. If you can touch like that, no problem. This side on me is tight. I can't quite get all the way on the right side. Now, My shoulders work fine, functionally. There's nothing that I cannot do because of something being tight in the shoulder. However, if you're getting pinching or anything like that, that kind of pain, then I recommend that you stretch that. And how do you do that? Here are some stretches. Really simple ones. Field goal, going backwards like this, going forwards like this. Now you might say, John, I don't really feel this one. Put it on the side of your hip, put the hand on the side of the hip, and then pull gently the shoulder forward. Now you may say, John, I ain't got time for that. It's too inefficient. So you can do both at the same time. So you squat down like this, and then the legs push the elbows inwards to get that stretch. Very intense. Another rotator cuff muscle stretch. If you have a loop or something like this, belt, string, whatever, put it around the thumb, and then it's going to go around the back of the elbow, like this. And then when you pull it forward, it's going to make the arm go backwards. Right, so we can go this way for the one side of the rotator cuff, and then we can go like this to help get that solo stretch. Lay down, relax. Put your hands behind your head. The elbows, they should touch the ground easily. If they're up here in the air, that means your pecs are very, very tight, that you need to stretch that. Stretch your pec. Use a wall, doorway, something like that. Have your chest like this, your elbows at the door, and the chest sinks in, and you turn away. That's good for the stretch. You could do it in the corner of a room with both elbows at the corner. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. I was just doing my meditation. You should be able to easily get your knees down to the floor. If you're up here, if you're like, oh, it's not like that. Your groin's tight, and you need to stretch that shit. How do you stretch it? Well, by doing what we were just doing, right? Come like this. You gently use the weight of your arms to push the knees down. You can lean forward. Stick the leg out like this. So there's a lot of ways that we can stretch the groin out. Okay, next, we want to see how tight our glutes are. So if you put the right leg on top with the foot in the crease of the knee and come forward, elbows should be easily on the ground, forehead on the ground, reverse that. This is both your test and your stretch. This is a great way to stretch the glutes. There's other ways, but this is something you should be able to do. If it's tight, you need to stretch that shit. Hello. This is for the hamstrings and the low back. This is testing both of those muscles. I can very easily touch my fingertips to the floor, but we should be able to palm the floor, which I can do, but it's really intense. So even I am not quite perfect. If you cannot easily palm the floor, like I cannot, then you need to stretch that. Shit.
I'm not familiar with that address.
For this one, you need to be on the edge of a bed or a table with your butt, the very edge, like that. You're gonna grab one knee to the chest, and the other one's just gonna relax down. What you should see is that this one is below horizontal. Now, because this bench is really low to the ground, Mine is kind of like horizontal. In reality, it is lower if this was higher up, makes sense? If it's parallel or higher, like just dangling up like this, like boing, boing, boing from a tight muscle, you need to stretch that. Relax forward to stretch this hip. Hip flexor right in here. Downwards, especially. Relax it down. Okay? When you're laying on your tummy like this, you should be able to get, without any pushing of someone else or yourself, like this. You should really get your heels very close to your bum, if not all the way there. Mine's pretty good. I think there's people out there who could get it all the way, without any overpressure. But if you just need a tiny bit like that, that's pretty good. If you're way out here, you're like, that's all I got. And you need to stretch that. I'll show you a really intense quad stretch here, although you can just do the normal standing quad stretch, which I'll demonstrate after. This one takes some balance. Bringing the heel to your butt. Here's a standing quad stretch. Make sure that your knees are in line with each other when you bring the heel to the butt. If you're like this, you're cheating. You want to be stretching you have your hip here, you're stretching the muscle across the hip. So you need to pull them in line. It's like this, you're cheating. If you're leaning forward, you're cheating. Pop that hip forward. Don't be like this. Have your foot a little ways from the wall and lean in and touch your knee to the wall without the back heel coming up. Somewhere right there. Then measure from the toe to the wall. Here we have a baseboard. You would subtract that because that's it's like a centimeter. You should be able to go 9 to 10 centimeters away from big toe to wall. If you can't, you need to stretch that.
Shit.
A great way to stretch the calf is to have something nice and sturdy on an angle like this. And you just lean the body forward and relax into that stretch. Hope that helps. If there's any questions, comment below. Let's walk the path of health together. Remember, get the 6 aspects of health every single day. Earth, air, fire, water, work, rest. Wrote a book all about it. It's coming out soon. You can read all about the 6 aspects of health on the website, doubleorganic.com. See you in the next video.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.